my Blu-ray collection, part 28. Ahoy everybody, and welcome to part 8 of a look at my Blu-ray collection. So this is normal films, TV, comedy, music, documentaries, whatever. You just know box sets because I've already shown those. And by box sets I mean multi-film box sets or collections of more than one series of a TV show. Okay, next up we have Pulp, a film about life, death and supermarkets. So this is a documentary about the band Pulp, who are one of my favourite bands. Really good documentary covering their rise to fame, the story of their fame, and then they reformed in 2012 and did a hometown concert in Sheffield, and it's about that as well. Yeah, just really good. Lots of live footage as well. Very good. Highly recommend if you're a fan. Then we move on to... Oh yeah, that's right. One of the greatest TV shows ever made. So I'm a big fan of A League of Gentlemen, one of my favourite TV shows, if not my favourite. And after that finished, Steve Pemberton and Reece Shearsmith created Psychoville. And this is the complete Psychoville. So season 1, a Halloween special, and season 2. Now season 2... Halloween special was in between 1 and 2. The release of season 2 contained the Halloween special, but they mistakenly put a shorter edit on it. So they then released the Halloween special, the full version. I think I got that the right way around. 60 minutes. Might be the other way around. They released the Halloween special, but they put the wrong edit on it. So stuck the full version on here. It's one way or the other anyway. So Psychoville is similar to A League of Gentlemen, in which it's all set in one world where most of the characters are played by, in which case, this case for 2 of them rather than the 3 of them, although Mark Gatiss does crop up in an episode. But this time it's a mystery thriller type show. 5 different characters receive a message saying, "I know what you did." And it's sort of the series is trying to find out what they did and who sent them this message. But you've got Mr. Jolly the Clown, who's a children's entertainer who's terrible, got a hook for a hand, and he's just the worst children's entertainer ever. Got David Sowerbutts and his mum, who's obsessed with serial killers. You've got Tony Hancock, who's blind and is being looked after by Tea Leaf, played by Daniel Kaluuya. You've got, I can't remember her character name. Oh, it's just come off. So, let's stick that in there. Dawn French plays a nurse who thinks that a doll is a real baby. There's a dwarf who's in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Did I miss anybody of the main 5? No, that was the main 5, wasn't it? Yeah, but it's just a brilliant series, very, very funny, and more of the same over the other series. The universe gets expanded a bit in the second series. But yeah, highly, highly recommend. Then we have Prowl, which is a British horror film, which I got because Ruta Gedmontas is in it, who's one of my favourite actresses. It's a fairly low-budget British horror. Amber dreams of escaping her small-town existence and persuades her friends to accompany her to find an apartment in the big city. When their transportation breaks down, they accept a ride in the back of a truck, but the truck doesn't stop, and they discover that the truck is full of cartons of blood. So they panic, and then the truck takes them to this abandoned warehouse, and there's these basically vampires in there who then chase them. It's not great, but it's an enjoyable enough watch. Okay, first of a couple, I think. Peter Kay Live Blu-rays. what I haven't got on Blu-ray, I've got on DVD. I really like Peter Kay. I think he's very clever, very funny. I've talked in previous parts about more mainstream comedians and their lack of edginess and what have you. And I do find that a bit with Peter, but I find he works past it because he's just a naturally funny guy. So this is Back on Nights, which was a documentary based around his 2011 tour. So it's sort of behind the scenes of it, but there's loads of footage as well. It's a bit of a... My one gripe with Peter is that he does like to cash in. He'll re-release the same material or very similar material in lots of different ways. So, you know, the new stand-up on here is from the same tour as a previous DVD and Blu-ray release. So there's a lot of overlap in the footage. It's just shot in different places and what have you. But he's, as I say, he gets away with it because he's very funny. This is Oz the Great and Powerful. I've seen a lot of people slagging this. I really enjoyed it personally. Big fan of Wizard of Oz anyway, so found it intriguing, the Return to Oz. Not Return to Oz, which is an entirely different film and which I wish had a Blu-ray release because I loved it. So James Franco is a small-time circus musician with dubious ethics, as it puts it on here. He gets hurled to the land of Oz. He meets three witches, Mila Kunis, Rachel Weisz and Michelle Williams. And it's sort of in a similar vein to Wizard of Oz, maybe a bit darker. Great cover. Really love the cover on this. This is a 3D version. But yeah, I enjoyed it a lot, personally. This is On the Road, film based on the Jack Kerouac novel. So Sam Riley plays Sal, who's a writer who goes off on a road trip with Garrett Hedlund's Dean Moriarty. And along the way, I meet Kristen Stewart and Kirsten Dunst and Viggo Mortensen. And it's, you know, the story of a road trip and what happens en route. It's a very good film. I enjoyed it a lot. My one gripe with it is that there's some scenes that are edited out of this Blu-ray for some reason. There's basically some nude scenes with Kristen Stewart, and some of them are in it and some of them aren't, and I'm not quite sure why. So why we get an edited version? I mean, it's only, you know, some boobs out shots. It's nothing graphic, so I don't really understand why that happened. You know, the full version was shown on Channel 4. This is The Complete Oceans, not including Ocean's 8, which I don't own or haven't seen. I'll probably pick it up at some point, because it's just in a single array. For the time being, this isn't with the box sets. But this is Oceans 11, 12 and 13 on 3 discs inside there. Perfectly enjoyable films. First one was the best, but all easy to watch, a lot of fun. This is Quartet. So this is set in a home for retired musicians. And I'll read the blurb, it's easier. Lifelong friends Wilf, Billy Connolly and Reggie, Tom Courtney, together with former colleague Sissy, Pauline Collins, are residents of Beecham House, a home for retired musicians. Every year on Giuseppe Verdi's birthday, the residents unite to give a concert to raise funds for their home. But when Jean Horton, Maggie Smith, a former Grand Dame of it... Grand Dame? That doesn't sound right. Grand Dame? Grand Dame? Whatever. Of the opera, and Reggie's ex-wife moves into the home. To everyone's surprise, the plans for the concert start to unravel. It's just, you know, excellent cast. It's a good, you know, feel-good movie. It's directed by Dustin Hoffman. Sheridan Smith's in it. It's a really good film. This is Red. I've got a feeling I've shown Red too. Strong suspicion I already have. This was a better one. Brilliant cast. Bruce Willis, Morgan Freeman, John Malkovich and Helen Mirren. They're basically retired assassins who have to start working again. But really fun film. Another Peter Kay. Just fallen out. PTK Live, the tour that didn't tour. Yeah, the tour that didn't tour. So this was his huge selling live tour that he did, that he only did in 2-3 different venues. Played lots of nights in one place rather than touring properly. 2 discs, this got DVD and Blu-ray. I prefer his earlier stuff, to be honest. His first couple of stand-up DVDs I enjoy more than this. Partly because this is at the O2 and it's sort of a big arena show and that's not the right place for comedy. But the material's still pretty good. A couple more. This is The Love We Make. So this was a documentary about Paul McCartney's response to 9/11, basically. He was in New York when it happened. And so he, felt really compelled to do something about it. So he took part in a benefit concert and he released the song Freedom. And, it meant a lot to him. It's a very interesting documentary about the time. And finally, for this part, we have Paul. So this was written by Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Just for him. And directed by Greg Mottola, who's a friend of Simon's. This has got the original theatrical version and the extended version. I've only watched the extended version. I don't tend to watch both, so I don't see the point. So they're a couple of sci-fi geeks taking a trip to Area 51 in a big camper van, and they come across an alien voiced by Seth Rogen and go on a road trip, and it's very silly and a lot of fun. Great film. Okay, so that's it for this part. Thank you for watching. Keep an eye on my playlist for past and future parts, and I'll see you in another video. Like, comment and subscribe. Bye.